Good morning. Merhaba. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings. Good Sunday to all of you. Thanks very much to the organizing committee for this opportunity to make a few brief remarks on this auspicious occasion and to allow us to share in the fellowship of these important issues. My name is Scott Gibbons. I'm a graduate of Duke University, a National Resource Fellowship graduate of the University of Pennsylvania, and a recipient of fellowships from the University of California at Berkeley. I'm also currently a political economy and geopolitical analyst at the Analyst Institute. I'm a longtime member of the Royal Society for Asian Affairs, many of whose illustrious members traveled to Turkestan during the previous century, and of the Indian Cartographic Society, which had its origins in the pioneering exploration and mapping of the Trans-Himalayan region. I wanted to give a few remarks today because of my passion for the region and deep interest in the subjects of national identity and self-determination. I remember in 1986, which seems like a long time ago, when the border from Pakistan to East Turkistan opened for non-border nationals. I, along with other intrepid and passionate people, made the crossing to Taşkent, Kashgar, Turpan, and Urumqi. At that time, I recalled the pain and suffering of East Turkistanis in previous years, such as my friend David Osman, when they had to flee their homeland over the mountains and through very difficult conditions. But in 1986, there was so much excitement and enthusiasm everywhere with the hope that East Turkestan could be open to the world and would be given the opportunity to engage with the world community. So many topics can be raised that are well known by most of you here, so I won't repeat them. They can be explored in great detail by the noble and important personalities, as we've seen already this morning. I will try to provide a perhaps new and emerging context to the status of East Turkestan, and most importantly to the people native to that region, jurisdiction, and state. We all well know about the distinct cultures and history of the region, called East Turkistan, Doğu Turkistan, or Azad Şerqi Turkistan. Yet, as with the case of Tibet and Kurdistan and other lands, these have not been sufficient to generate meaningful and effective international support for self-determination and statehood. We can ask, why not? And if conditions have changed so that another strategy might be pursued that could be successful. Let me mention nation-states are largely modern phenomena and not necessarily nature or natural or easy to create or maintain. International practice, I will say, not international law, is very conservative in its understanding of state boundaries and legitimacy, following the guidance of the Treaty of Westphalia more than 300 years ago. There is no real international law or international consensus of what constitutes states or national boundaries other than what is already in place, in existence. That means that support for new states almost always comes after they become a reality, rather than being based on human rights, historical or functional arguments. Even the popular wisdom, especially here in America, that a people should have the right to self-determination is only theoretical. We should recognize that self-determination is achieved only through power and support from allies. A nation-state is understood to be a bounded area of jurisdiction with the people holding a common identity and shared interests. In the case of East Turkestan, a historical process of such nation building had been in progress for many decades, but had been slow, interrupted, and now is seriously undermined by demographic warfare, restriction of freedom, and repressive atrocities. Under such circumstances, a native people's East Turkestan state, nation-state, cannot emerge to claim its rightful place in the world community. I ask whether conditions have changed. Yes, as the speakers earlier have said, conditions have changed. The world is waking up slowly, thanks to General Ralph Spalding, Andres Kor, Joseph Bosco, and others. But finally, to the nature and designs of the CCP and the People's Republic of China as a world power. The most urgent needs of the hour are certainly to bring a stop to and prevent further atrocities to the native peoples of East Turkistan. Because without a living people, there can be no basis for claims for a nation state and recognition. Indeed, current policies and atrocities are even making it difficult to call for the basic human rights of the native East Turkestan people. Yet the behavior, policies, and history of the People's Republic of China give little hope of people's rights for self-determination. The changed world geopolitical conditions force us to consider that the only pragmatic strategy to save East Turkestan and its native people will not be primarily through independent claims of nationhood, but as part of a much broader, as Andres Kor suggested, a much broader plan. And that plan would include the dismemberment of the People's Republic of China into peaceful nation states that can give each other mutual respect. Only in terms of such a strategy, implemented not for humanitarian purposes, but for self-interest on the part of the world's free nations, can save the East Turkestan people, and indeed can save the world. Thank you.